Little review tonight of a couple of traditional styled slip joint knives. These are from the Old Timer brand, which is part of the Taylor brands family, who brings other well-known brands like Schrade. More often than not, they are presented at a budget price, and these knives are no different. These retail, generally they're something you'll have to buy from the US market rather than a UK distributor, and they're retailing between $20 and $30 each. Their RRP seems to be around about 30. So these are the 80TW and the 770TW, and we'll pop them out. They both come in sort of waxed paper, which I think adds to the sort of traditional feel somewhat. The 770 is a 2-blade knife. The 80 is a 3-blade. So if we start off with the 770 for simplicity, as I say, 2 blades, traditional arrangement, one at each end, and they're both sort of clip points. I mean, the general style of these knives, I would have said, is a toothpick. I'm happy to be corrected on that terminology, but that's certainly what it seems most reminiscent of. Virtually identical. I can't really see any difference between those two clip point blades, apart from one end's branded with Schrade and 770TW. The scales, as far as I'm aware, are desert ironwood, have a nice sort of depth and shimmer, so a bit of flamey sort of feel to that. Brass bolsters, or certainly brass coloured bolsters, brass pins, and a little brass plaque with Old Timer on there. Heat treated stainless steel back springs, and again what looks to be brass liners. So the steel is a 7CR17, and that's not a steel that I'm very familiar with at all. Reading up very briefly on that, it seems to be what would otherwise be known a 440A, which is really a metal which is generally kept for the more budget offerings. Indeed, seeing that you can pick these up for around about $20, I think that fits in there. So 440A, 7CR17, one and the same. As far as I can tell, they're easy to sharpen. They certainly are easy to sharpen from my experience of these knives. They don't come with a fantastically sharp edge. Cutting paper was a little bit well, it wasn't razor sharp, let's say that. But with a quick going over with the Viper Sharp, check my videos out for that. They did take an edge really nicely. I think where the 440A comes apart a bit is the edge retention under cutting, and that is indeed a weakness of this metal. But if you want a serviceable knife, easily maintained, and you don't mind sharpening every now and again, it probably is absolutely fine for the job. Slight hollow grind on these, probably pick that up on the reflections. Nice hollow grind on those, elegant clip point, really quite nice fit and finish overall. Nice and smooth on the transition to the bolsters. With these blades, there is a slight cosmetic issues as the blade meets the back spring, just little gaps which you wouldn't see on a higher end slip joint, but makes no odds to the function. Nice positive action on the slip joint, pretty firm and you can choke up a little bit with your finger up against the choil, I guess you'd call it, and that will just stop it closing on your hand. Again, with all slip joints, you've got to treat them with some respect. Can't stab into things and expect them not to fold back on your hands, but in general cutting use, very good. So that's the 770. The 80TW, generally same observations, good fit and finish, nice bolsters, desert ironwood. But this has 3 blades. It's got the clip point, but this time slightly different design, and it's got the, rather than a nail nick, you've got what I'd call a skagel, if that's a way to pronounce it, slot. Sometimes that's cut all the way through, which I think looks great, but a little bit more to grab onto there. So clip point there. Then you've got a sheep's foot. Always useful to have a completely straight blade. And then the third blade you've got there is a design which I'm not particularly familiar with, and it's not particularly attractive, but this is a spay blade, and this is traditionally used as a skinning blade for small animals, the internet tells me. Perfectly serviceable, but just something aesthetically doesn't really sort of turn me on about that blade shape, but it is what it is. The nesting of the blades presents an interesting situation. If you look at the sheep's foot blade, it curves off to one side to allow it to nest nicely. Absolutely fine, just an interesting arrangement. I've never had a 3-bladed knife before, so maybe that's standard. It will make sharpening slightly more challenging maybe, but no real issue I don't think. Okay, so these are slip joints. So the question is, are they UK legal? And the answer to the question is yes, they are. The longest blade on these, which is the clip point on the 770, is 3 inches long, which is fine, but the cutting edge is only 2.5 or 2.5 inches, so again absolutely fine. So these are quite nice, elegant little pocket carries. Wouldn't be too upset if you lost them, I guess, for the price. And yeah, really quite nice little knives for money, and nice to pick up what I would call a traditional sort of US style design. And again, I'll probably be told that in fact this the toothpick style, if it is indeed a toothpick, is maybe not US origin, but please chip in if that's what you think, or if I'm getting my facts wrong. But yeah, very nice little knives, great price point, fit and finish really very good for the money, nice wooden scales, can't really fault them. Just for size comparison, here's a Victorinox Alox Pioneer, I think it is, single blade. So just side by side, obviously quite a bit thicker. And the blade length, this being a well-established UK legal blade. There you go. About the same. Maybe compare it against something else. This is a Spyderco Urban British Blades version. This, if anyone can tell me what happened to that forum, I'd be really interested to know. It's just completely disappeared, which just boggles my mind for a well-established forum. Unfortunately, I think I know what happened, but I'd love to hear the gossip. Unbelievable that they let that go. So that's a Spyderco Urban. So obviously a lot more to hold on to there. A lot thicker blade stock. Right, well, I think that probably brings us to the end of the video. Really nice little knives. Very pleased to sort of have them in the collection now, and I think they're exceptional value for money, to be honest. If you haven't seen my channel before, please check it out. If you're into everyday carry, pen knives, that sort of thing, also quality footwear, denim, fountain pens, coffee, just got back into bike riding, playing guitar, and a few odds and sods come up in the videos, so please check out share some other common interests, and well, I hope that's useful. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Please consider subscribing, and I'll see you for the next video. Okay, thank you very much. Bye bye.